Welcome to Cartoonist Kayfabe. My name is Ed Piskor.
I'm Jim Rugg.
Going to be taking a look at some astonishing manga reprints here today. But first, got to let you guys know that we have a Patreon at the link in the description below. And our biggest supporters get to see us record these videos ahead of time. And they get all the videos before anybody else. I think this is going to be a highly kayfabe-affected episode. And they're getting first dibs on the cheapest copies of all the books that we're going to be talking about here today. But the videos are also brought to you by the books that we make on the screen in front of you. You are taking a look at a healthy bibliography of what we have out there today. We are celebrating the 10th anniversary of Hip Hop Family Tree this year with a giant omnibus collection of all the volumes, plus 140 pages of additional material are going to be included in that set. 3 volumes X-Men Grand Design, 2 volumes of Red Room are out there in stores right now, with a 3rd on the way. These are the covers for Red Room Crypto Killers issue number 1. There's Jimmy's variant right there, my newsstand variant, copy of the issue 2 cover. Jimmy has some great stuff coming on in 2023 as well, man. Hulk Grand Design has hit your stores and is going fast, so get your hands on copies as soon as possible. Coming soon is going to be Street Angel Princess of Poverty, collecting another giant sample of Jim's Street Angel comics. And if you have this and Street Angel Deadliest Girl Alive, you then have all of the existing Street Angel comics that are out there in the wild today. Plain Jane's is another book that Jimmy has out there that you need to get your hands on. And without further ado, Jimmy, I don't even know what to call this video, to be honest to you, man. I come back from Japan, and I'm fiending for some Go Nagai, man, like to actually be able to read this stuff. And I'm rummaging around online, and I see that there's like a complete set of the original Devilman that's out there from this company called 7 Seas Entertainment.
These are such handsome books. Not just the Devilman, but this whole 7 Seas selection that you've got laid out here. These are hardcover books. They're probably 6x9, 6x8.5, something along those lines. They're absolutely stunning as books. They're so nice.
Here's the thing that fucks my head up, man. I never heard of 7 Seas Entertainment, and I've never seen any of these books in a comic book shop. None of them. So I get the Devilmans. I'm loving the comic. It'll be, Devilman will have his own episode sooner than later. But then I'm like, well, what else did these guys put out? Because fuck it, I want to read more classic manga. And the cool thing is, this is like Generation 2 or something. You got your Tezukas and your Ishinomoris, but like Go Nagai is like the first big hit cartoonist for Shonen Jump, man. It's Mazinger Z. It's not Devilman. That was never a Shonen, a Shueisha piece. But nonetheless, you get that, man. In Japan, I can't even find a Monkey Punch comic. So to get an actual Lupin the Third, and the way they do it, because I think that it doesn't necessarily have as many volumes as Golgo 13 does, but I think there's a lot.
Yes.
So play the hits.
This is a nice way to expose yourself to a classic like this as well.
Check out the approach, too. The art is nothing like I thought it would be. Like the Lupin the Third cartoon is very wiry and has like a lot of distortion and stuff. So, dude, this is my first exposure to Monkey Punch.
Yeah, that's wild. Very different than what I expected. There was just somebody put together a clip of anime of Lupin the Third with Jim Cornette, in that their outfits are the same.
Yeah, it's so good, man.
Which is incredible to think about.
You want the green coated Lupin the Third? That's the Hayao Miyazaki episodes that he directed. We talked to Ishinomori. Here's 2 verses, man. You got the biggest book of them all. I think it's nearly an 800 page. It's over 800 pages of Kamen Rider.
This is amazing. I love biker comics,
Yeah.
and this is a badass biker comic.
We called it Masked Rider in the early 90s when the Power Rangers hit. But, like, dude, you could read it all, you know?
This is a beautiful book, too. And I mean inside, too, not just the book itself. The format of these books is all the same. They're all this hardcover, same size. But the comics are amazing in Kamen Rider. And you mentioned that second generation of manga.
Yeah.
50th anniversary edition on the top of that book. Kind of speaks to that, you know, and it blows my mind to think of this as a 50-year-old comic.
Totally. We're some old boys at this point, man. Power Ranger fan, like I said, man. He created the whole Super Sentai, you know, idea. This is pretty cool, this Go Ranger thing, because it's black and white comics, right? So you see the different textures.
Good example of it.
Yeah, to communicate each of the different colors of his guy. So, like, one's a zip, one's a hatching going one way. You leave two naked, one with some crosshatch to communicate the different colors. But, dude, I've been down this deep fucking rabbit hole just reading all kinds of classic manga and strips and all kinds of different weird stuff. This is probably the next one on the list. But here's the thing, guys. I don't know anything about the Seven Seas Entertainment Company. I think they publish about 600 books a year. And, like, so much of their stuff is not my interest. Like, I'm into the classic material. I like to see drawings on paper. You know, I'm not into digital art and stuff. It's like music. You know, like you like acoustic guitar. Or do you want fucking, you know, Fruity Loops computer created music? You know, like I'm going with pen on paper. That is my energy. These books that you see before you, you can find remaindered for next to nothing. You know, I did not spend more than $120 on all of these books, and there's still one on the way. We lost Leiji Matsumoto just 2 weeks ago or something as of this recording. The Captain Harlock comics that we got in the States were those shell game Amerimanga Malibu comics that they just had some dudes around here fucking make. No, man, I want the Leiji Matsumoto OG right. Comics. And guess what? You get 3 volumes of this stuff, you get it. And 2 of these volumes together cost like $20.
That's incredible to see. Yeah, these are really good comics, as you say, Ed, like classics.
Yeah.
Which I love, because it is hard to kind of... We don't have a canon in comics, but we do have stuff that you know is classic, stuff that's been influential to generations, and the ability to read that stuff inexpensively, man, it's important because it's part of the DNA of comics. Especially if you're a maker or a fan, this stuff is going to be informative to what you're looking at today because it's in almost everything.
Yeah, it's true. And it's such a different point of view. It's such a different relationship with the audience. There's way less talking down to the audience. Like Captain Harlock is kid's cartoon or whatever, but the sort of journey that you go on is just less insulting to the reader than your average kind of Marvel DC comic, even from, you know, Stan and Jack period.
It's funny to think about that in terms of the production whenever you look at these books and it's an 800-page book, 3 volumes of several hundred pages each. You would think it'd be the opposite and it'd be full of bloat, but it's almost like the serialization and the fact that you got to perform in each of those serials.
Yeah. It
doesn't give you that room.
Right. Yeah. And it's put your imagination down on the table. Now, the one that is on its way is Space Battleship Yamato, also known as Star Blazers to the old heads here in the States, which, same deal. You got like your Kamiko, you know, Ben Dunn, you know, American manga type aesthetic. No, give me the Matsumoto stuff, man. Give me the real shit. So that's on its way. And like I said, these things, they don't show up in comic shops. There's not much promotion being done on these things. They publish 600 some books a year. I don't know what their big outliers are, but any of the classics that they put together, I'm just scooping them up. And because nobody either, you know, their promotion is lacking, comic shops don't, you know, have much room for a footprint of an 800-page Kamen Rider comic, you can get these things for a song right now. That'll probably not be true, minutes after this video goes live.
Yeah, I hope it's not true, because these are good books to get into circulation.
Absolutely, man. And look, man, you got like not one but two Go Nagai series. You got the OG Cutie Honey in here. I would like the Mazinger stuff also. If
We are spoiled. The fact that you can get these things for $15 or something, whatever you paid for them. How lucky are we?
But here's the thing: you can't take it for granted, because we have no idea how many copies of this stuff is out there. So, like, I've been in that mentality of just grab it. Like Tom was the one that said, it hasn't been since the 1800s that so few books of each title have been published, and it's kind of true. You see these like who knew that just these Taiyo Matsumoto comics that we've been scooping up all these years, like, we're sitting on a treasure trove of Matsumoto comics that are worth thousands of dollars at this point. Why? Because they're fucking out of print and everybody wants them. And that's just going to keep going. I've been wanting to read a good, edition of Devilman. From what I hear, that there's some speculation, or people are saying that, like, there are 3 different iterations of the Devilman collection, and this is like one of some lesser version or something like that. Where he would, because he's the creator and he gets to do so, he can. Park my little bookmark. Over time, he's stuffing in strips that weren't in the original serialization, stuff that he did a little bit later and things like that. But Go Nagai chose to do it this way, so I'm very happy to read that. I just finished Volume 1 last night. Going to read Volume 2 over the next week or so, and we'll do a proper Devilman video. Very wild comic, not anything like what I thought it would be. But I mean, what was the first version we had? We had this like really shittily colored translations that Verotic did, Glenn Danzig, and they're affected comics, because Danzig, he's just like, oh, it has devil in the title, man, 666, I'm going to publish that. We have to now trust his translation for like what that stuff is, and something tells me that he might have got a discount on his translator.
How bizarre is it to think of that? Like, that's most Americans' exposure to Devilman.
Right.
It's so bizarre.
But it's one of those things, man. You saw those tapes at Suncoast Video. You saw the Cutie Honey tapes at the Suncoast Video. Go Nagai has always been like, he's like the Raw dude, and I don't mean Raw like Raw magazine. I'm like Raw like less polished, or you have your Tezuka that's like Disney and your Ishinomori, but he's got kind of that style, but he'll show fucking dicks coming and demons with like titties that are eyeballs and just like the weirdest, most kind of perverted stuff. It makes sense that like he's making comics all day, every day, and so his like imagination and his like sexual repression like shows up in the pages, and it's like so far out and weird and wild. But I'm having a ball with these comics. Manga is where my head has been for a minute. I'm already itching to get back to Japan sooner than later. And I just want to make everybody aware of these pieces here. I think I got most of the classics up to this point. I don't know if anything's forthcoming. If any of you guys have information, please put that in the comments. Because, for the most part, I might be supporting a lot of these classics as they put them out, and I hope they continue to do so. It sounds like they have a big body of work and some good funding behind them if they're putting out 600 books a year. But there's just a nominal amount of those that are these classic joints, and I want to make everybody hip and aware to these so that they just are incentivized to keep making more.
It makes me so curious, because there's that company that was putting out Tezuka stuff, and I think they were doing it through crowdfunding, but they did like several volumes. I don't think it was Vertical. It was another group.
Yeah.
And then like this Seven Seas, not a company that I've heard their story. Like Viz, we know Viz. Viz has been around for decades. They're out there. But these other companies that are doing major manga translations and publishing that I know nothing about, why do I know nothing about them?
It's true.
Like, talk to us. Talk
right.
to the comics people, because like there's a lot of comics interest in this material.
Totally.
It's not, there aren't two markets. In a weird way, manga is almost taken up when it used to be like alternative versus mainstream. And you can only like one, and you gotta hate the other one. We are almost in that area now with like serial, like comic books in America, and then manga is like two separate things. I think there's a lot of crossover of people that read both. I read both, you read both, most of the people I know read both. So I want to hear this. I want to know what Seven Seas is doing and what they've got coming up. And this is a significant body of work.
Yeah.
How don't we know more about them?
Yeah, and I'm so excited about it. I'm so happy to share these comics, but the information is limited. We can't know everything.
That is true.
And we got comics to make ourselves. So any extra info, if there are any websites, or I've been to the website and it's very it's overwhelming. But if there are forthcoming books, put it in the comments. I'll make sure to scoop them up before disseminating that information for myself, of course. But
order first, then share it.
Yes, these are this. What you see before you represents nearly a dozen comics I've been wanting to read since I was a little kid, and now I have that opportunity, and I have to thank Seven Seas Entertainment for making that possible. But as a fan of comics, I do fear that this might not continue if people don't support the works, because like I told you up front, man, I got these all remaindered for like less than $20 a piece. And if a book is $30-$40 when it comes out, like, I just don't see how that could be a sustainable business model over a long period of time. Support these books, check out some classic manga, and let's get more. I'd love to read Kamui Den.
That's true.
There's so much stuff. I would love to have a translated version of Ryu, the strongest man on earth. The Kaze Shinobu dude who was helping Go Nagai on Devilman and Mazinger and shit. Like, we need more translation. It just creates a better awareness and education for English-speaking comic book makers, who you now have something new in the palette that you can season your own comics making with. And I feel like I'm going to add the sensibilities to good health in my comics moving forward, and I'm just so freaking thankful that this stuff exists. Support these comics, man. Let's keep this stuff rocking, and the next classics that Seven Seas puts out, I'm gonna be all ears for sure.
I feel like this is a public service announcement video, Ed. Like letting everybody know these exist and at affordable prices. Like, man, don't sleep on it.
Yeah, it's just like, I just couldn't believe that this like bounty of riches was out there and I had no idea. Like, we're in our microcosm, we're doing our thing, we got our heads down making stuff. Cartoonist Kayfabe is the biggest comic book website out there, so like, it's not like I could go there for information.
It feels like, and this happens several times a week at this point, but imagine if you had this stuff in 1992, if just this collection showed up on your doorstep, what you'd be as a cartoonist.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, like these are sacred relics.
They really are.
You learn a lot of stuff about comics making looking at this material, and we could keep talking about it all day, but we should get to making comics ourselves, Jimmy. Kayfabers, like, follow, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the bell so that we can notify you when new vids are available. Got to let you guys know that we have this Patreon, and like I said, man, these books are probably kayfabe affected. Our King Kayfabers get first dibs on grabbing these things on the aftermarket or on the local comic shops, and because they're getting all the videos before anybody else. So support the channel by way of our Patreon, but support the Kayfabe channel by buying our books as well. Jimmy, tell the people what you have on the stands and forthcoming.
Street Angel, Princess of Poverty. That is my next book, out from Image Comics later this spring. Pre-order that one now wherever you get comics. It will collect all of the Street Angel comics that are not in Street Angel Deadly Scroll Live, which is also available now. So the perfect 1-2 punch, perfect for your collection, to have all my Street Angel comics in one easy place in a very attractive set. Those books are designed to sit nicely next to each other. Hulk Grand Design and the Plain Janes also available. And join me on patreon.com/JimRugg to see lots more of my art and comics, download out-of-print zines and mini comics, and see the comics that I am working on now.
Hip Hop Family Tree Omnibus Collection is coming out in 2023. Thank you guys so much for pushing that so high on the Amazon rankings. I want to keep that energy going. Support the book at your local comic shop when it's available there. All avenues are welcomed. Like I said, we're collecting all the Hip Hop Family Tree volumes. There's going to be 140 pages of additional material in there, which is more than an extra volume's worth of art and extras. Red Room is going to be starting up again in May. This is the cover to Red Room Crypto Killers 1. Peach Momoko just sent her variant to us this morning. This is Jimmy's Red Room variant for that issue. by way of Rob Liefeld. There's going to be a sketch cover that everybody can order. Been a lot of demand for that, so we're making that happen this go around. Murder on the Dark Web for Fun and Profit is the name of the game. There are 2 existing Red Room trade paperbacks out there. All contain self-contained stories in each volume. 4 volumes, Hip Hop Family Tree. There are 3 volumes of X-Men Grand Design out there, and WYSIWYG for you to check out. My Patreon, I'm serializing the new Red Room stuff. Jimmy, tell the people what else.
Subscribe to the Cartoonist Kayfabe newsletter at the links below this video. You can also find Cartoonist Kayfabe t-shirts, merchandise, hats, mugs, stickers, and lots more at our spread shop. That link is also under this video.
Great ways to support the Cartoonist Kayfabe channel, given those marching orders will be on our way.
Read more manga.